Welcome to the Swine Nutrition Black Belt Podcast, the latest swine nutrition research digested for you. My name is Clayton Chastain, your host for today's episode. Today we have with us Rafe Royall, a graduate student at Kansas State University. How are you doing today?
Oh, doing good. Thanks for having me on, Clayton.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. So Rafe, would you mind sharing with us these lysine studies you conducted?
Yeah, definitely. So we ran a series of 5 trials here at Kansas State in order to determine the SID lysine requirements to maximize growth performance and economic return for the DNA 600 by 241 lines. In recent years, we've seen a massive upkick in the number of durox-sired pigs in the marketplace. Currently, DNA thinks between their boars and their semen sales, they roughly account for 40% of the market shares in the industry right now. So we had 5 weight ranges, with the first one being from 18 to 40 kilograms. In that trial, we had dietary treatments that ranged between 1 and 1.5% SID lysine. In our second trial, we had 36 to 54 kilogram pigs with the dietary treatments ranging from 0.8 to 1.2% lysine. In the third, we had 53 to 75 kilogram pigs with treatments ranging from 0.65 up to 1% SID lysine. In the fourth study, pigs ranged from 76 up to 100 kilograms with dietary treatments there ranging from 0.58 to 1% SID lysine. And then in our final study, we had 100 to 120 or 103 to 128 kilogram pigs with dietary treatments there ranging from 0.43 up to 0.78% SID lysine. And in each of these studies, we increased SID lysine within the diets, both by increasing soybean meal and crystalline lysine, so that our diets were more similar to what you'd see in a typical commercial setting. So additionally, in each of these experiments, we looked at economics in 2 scenarios, both with a low and high diet and live pig prices. And then within each of those experiments, again, we modeled dose response curves using linear, quadratic polynomial, and broken line linear models. So to get into a little bit of the results, in the 18 to 40 kilogram weight range, for both average daily gain and gain to feed ratio, we found that increasing SID lysine linearly increased both of these growth performance criteria. And based on the dose response models, we found that maximum growth performance would be achieved between 1.41% and 1.5% SID lysine. When looking at our income over feed cost for this weight range, we found that increasing SID lysine actually linearly decreased IOFC. And here, the broken line linear model in our low price scenario found that maximum income over feed cost would be achieved at around 1.12% SID lysine. Moving on to our second trial, the 36 to 54 kilogram weight range, we found that once again, increasing lysine linearly improved both average daily gain and average daily feed intake, average daily gain and feed efficiency. And additionally, whenever we looked at economic return in both of our scenarios, we found that there was a tendency for a linear decrease in income over feed costs. Here, linear models resulted in the best fit, suggesting that maximum growth performance would be achieved at or above 1.2% SID lysine, while the economic models showed that in this weight range, a wide range of lysine could be fed in order to meet similar returns. In our 53 to 75 kilogram weight range, once again, we found that increasing lysine linearly improved both average daily gain and feed efficiency. Here, the linear model resulted in the best fit for average daily gain. However, when looking at feed efficiency, the QP model resulted in the best fit, and this suggested maximum feed efficiency would be achieved at 0.99%. However, when looking at income over feed cost for this weight range, the model suggested that once again a wide range of lysine could be fed with anywhere between 0.76 and 0.91%, resulting in maximum economic return. In our 76 to 100 kilogram weight range, once again we found that increasing lysine linearly improved average daily gain and feed efficiency. Here, the dose response model suggested that for average daily gain, the broken line linear model was the best fit, and this suggested there was no further improvement to average daily gain when increasing beyond 0.83%. However, the quadratic polynomial model was the best fit for gain to feed ratio, and this suggested that maximum feed efficiency would be achieved at 0.93%. For income over feed cost, we didn't see any statistical differences in either of our economic scenarios, but the QP and broken line linear models for both of our economic scenarios suggested maximum income over feed cost would be achieved at roughly 0.76 to 0.78% lysine. And finally, in our highest weight range, that 103 to 128 kilogram weight range, we found that increasing lysine linearly improved average daily gain once again. However, there was actually a quadratic effect on feed efficiency, in which pigs that were fed diets containing 0.64% SID lysine actually had our best feed efficiency there. And in both scenarios, income over feed cost was quadratically improved with increasing increasing SID lysine. Here, the dose response models for both average daily gain and feed efficiency, as well as income over feed cost, suggested maximum performance would be achieved between 0.59 and 0.64%. So using all of these data points for each of our weight ranges, we were able to develop a set of lysine or of regression equations in order to predict the lysine to calorie ratio for maximum growth performance and economic return throughout the grow finish phase.
Gotcha. So with the results you saw with this, with all the, obviously that was a lot of numbers and everything for everyone listening, but how would these numbers with the income over feed cost or with the optimal growth performance, how did those numbers compare to either DNA's or the NRC's recommendations for pigs of that weight range?
Yeah, so specifically looking at what DNA currently recommends, early on in that early grower phase, we're significantly higher than what DNA currently recommends. They would recommend closer to a 1.2% SID lysine in that early grower phase, but we would have saw quite a bit higher, roughly around 55 kilograms of weight. We actually cross over there with DNA. But it's interesting whenever you look at whether it's DNA, current recommendations, PICs, or Rs, or even the NRC, once we get into that late finishing phase, everyone gets to a much closer level, roughly around 0.6 to 0.65% SID lysine.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense because a lot of times the pigs of the younger weight range are all over the place in terms of performance, depending on their background and immune status at the moment. So do you plan to do any more research with this, or your team plan to do any more research with this, such as looking at different maybe energy next instead of lysine or anything like that?
So as of now, we don't have any plans to continue this research. Right now, we're working on developing a calculator to put online for producers to be able to input their own specific energy values as well as their economic scenarios to be able to predict maximum performance and maximum income over feed cost within their specific scenario.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing us the results of that trial. And to everyone else, thank you for listening to the Swine Nutrition Black Belt podcast. Please visit us at swinenutritionblackbelt.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast channel so you won't miss out on the next episode. See you next week. Hey everyone, we're always searching for the latest and greatest research to share each week. If you have a swine nutrition related research trial and would like to come on the show to talk about it and share with us, feel free to send an email to nutritionblackbelt@swineit.com and we would love to take a look at your research.